Hello everyone, Dimitri Mello here, the Soccer Excellence Mentor, and today we're going to be talking about numerical superiority. Basically, it's very important because it is one of the most obvious ways to establish advantage in the zone of the ball, to have more players than the opponent's players in that zone. That obviously assures you a little more probability of maintaining the situation in your favor and maybe progressing towards the opponent's goal. But today we're going to see a little difference in ways you can establish numerical superiority, so you can understand how you can do it and what you can use it for during matches. Numerical superiority is a concept that is transversal to every moment and phase of the game. Being able to recognize, generate, maintain, adapt, and neutralize numerical superiority is key for a team to develop its ideas clearly and effectively, and to be able to use possession in its favor to generate constant threats to the opponents. So the first thing here is that being able to recognize the numbers in every situation is an aspect that every coach should be training with their teams in the training sessions and in every video analysis. Okay, so you as a coach, it is very important that you help your team develop the capacity of understanding what situation is actually going on in that play, how many players do your team have in that zone, and how many players are effectively participating in that play, and how many players the opponent's team have in that zone, and how many players are effectively participating in that play. So what is the result in terms of the numerical challenge, 2v1, 3v2, 4v2, etc., in the proper situation. The goal of that is, if you're able to recognize, if you're not able to recognize, you're not able to intervene on it. So you have to be able to recognize with the concepts that the coach is going to transmit to the players, that what situation is going on based on the concepts from the coach, so the entire team thinks like the coach, right? So the first thing, very important, is to be able to recognize the numerical setup of the play. Only then your team will be able to generate numerical superiority if they have recognized that they were under numerical inferiority. They were suffering from numerical inferiority, the opponent had numerical superiority, so they have now to generate it on their favor. Okay? Maintaining it, same principle. So you already have numerical superiority, and by recognizing the aspects of the game and the constant changes of positioning from players in your team and the opponent's team, your team has to be able to constantly recognize what the opponent team is trying to do and maintain numerical superiority in their play. Adapt and neutralize, also a part of the same concepts, starts with recognizing, and then you can do anything else, which is to adapt to the constant fight for numerical superiority and neutralize attempts from the opponent's team to enforce numerical superiority in your team. Numerical superiority can be achieved through different processes, such as, number one, moving the ball or the opponents to a zone where there is already numerical advantage for your team. So you're simply going to move the ball to another zone where your team already has numerical superiority, or has more players than the opponent's team, or the opponent's team has no player in that zone. So you're going to hold the ball there or advance through that side, progress on the field through that side of the field, until the opponent has managed to bring more players to that zone and neutralize your numerical superiority. So whenever you have numerical superiority of just one player, you might be thinking of changing the zone of the ball to a zone where you have more advantage to maintain possession, or you just need to stay tuned for topic number 3 here. Topic number 2 is moving players to support a play in a certain zone, establishing then numerical superiority. So now you're not moving the ball is in the same zone, so you move more players to that zone in order to generate numerical superiority to your team. Number 3, and for me the most important one, changing the overall setup of a play to reconfigure its most urgent problem without bringing in more players to the zone. So with the same setup as it is in the zone of the ball is here, your team is here, the opponent's here, you're not going to bring more players, you're not going to take the ball away from the zone, you're just going to reconfigure that play so your players manage to generate a 2v1 in a 4v2 against them, for example. Let's understand this. Example, it's a 4v2 against your team. The 2 on your team have the ball, the 4 on the opponent's team are pressing. The 2 need to reconfigure the play to set up a new situation where it's not a 4v2 anymore, it's actually a 2v1 because the 2 managed to isolate just one of the 4 players pressing, reducing the situation to their advantage. Whatever process you choose to prioritize, how your team is going to set up numerical superiority, I seriously advise you to work on process number 3, as it's the most difficult one, but also the one that will give you the most advantage in the game. You will have to train it in global and or systemic exercises. This is something you, the coach, has to be able to recognize first and know what words to use with your players to make them aware of the situation and of the importance of adapting their behavior and the consequences of that to the game. So quickly, let's analyze what I'm saying here. This is what I'm saying. This is an example of what I'm saying. Let's say this player has the ball right here, okay, like this. And this player is open wide. This player is open wide here. And the setup is this one, okay? This is the setup. So your player here with the ball moves the ball a little to the right and turns his body a little bit just to attract that opponent here. I'm not going to be changing, well, let me do it here. So attracts that opponent here. So this guy makes that move and moves that guy here, but this guy makes that move and receives the ball with that body orientation here. Okay, so now this guy is going to come to press, for example. This guy is going to come to press, and this guy is going to turn around and press him too. And you can see there's a 3v1 being set up against your player right here. But if this player checks into this situation and this player is able to recognize this 2v1, now the 3v1 against him does not exist anymore because he's the one in command of the situation because he has the ball and his teammate has made a support here that he was able to recognize and generate this 2v1 against this guy that now has to turn around and go press. And this guy could check in, for example, here and maybe generate another 2v1 against this guy and a total 3v1 against this guy. So being able to reset up the situation, reconfigure the situation where you had originally numerical disadvantage into a numerical advantage is mostly about the perception of the play. Of course, there is the support movements and the understanding of the player without the ball, where to generate the 2v1 and against what opponents, which opponents, and the guy with the ball that has to recognize that support and generates the 2v1 in his favor. So this is what I was mentioning, okay? So I hope this was a great explanation. Let me know if you like the content here. Thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. Check my other videos. I've got a series here called Soccer Coaching Express. It's an entire course with 14 chapters, 14 videos that will guide you through the most basic aspects of coaching. Please check it out. Let me know if you like it. Check my other videos in this channel. Check my results in a video called Compilation, Soccer Excellence Compilation here in this same channel, and you can see my results because I never ever advise you to listen to people who do not show their results. So check it out, leave your comments, and let's bring our performance towards excellence.